The desert stretched endlessly under the pale bone white moon. Liam and his brother Eric had come out here to escape the city, to clear their minds, drink some beers, to just get away, if only just for a few days. But for Liam, the weight had followed him here. Bills were piling up, and a foreclosure loomed over him like a shadow. He needed a break, but more than that, he needed a miracle. It came in the form of something half buried in the sand. They'd been hiking for hours. The sun was baking their skin when Liam's boot scuffed against something solid. He crouched down, brushing aside the grains, revealing an object covered in strange etchings. It was old, the metal dulled with time but still glinting under the sun with its golden luster. His heart pounded as he pried it loose. "Jackpot," he muttered, holding it up. Eric, watching from a few feet away, frowned. "That's not something you want to mess with." Liam scoffed. "Come on, man. This looks ancient. Probably worth a ton. I could finally dig myself out this hole." Eric shook his head. "This place has stories, Liam. Bad stories. You don't just take things from this part of the desert." Liam rolled his eyes, stuffing the relic into his pack. "I can't afford to believe in ghost stories, okay?" That night, the wind howled through the camp, whispering through the cracks of the rocks. Liam tossed and turned in his sleeping bag, thinking about his newfound riches. The desert air suddenly thick and heavy. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote yipped, then cut off abruptly. Silence swallowed the desert whole. Then came the noises. It was faint at first, just a rustling outside the tent, like dry twigs scraping against the fabric. Eric stirred beside him. "Did you hear that?" Liam sat up listening. The sound grew louder, closer. Then came the growls. They slipped through the tent like a draft, hissing in the sound neither brother has ever heard. Liam's chest tightened. He reached for his flashlight, unzipping the tent slowly. The fire was nothing but embers now, casting feeble red light on the sand. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, twisting like grasping fingers. Then he saw it. A figure at the edge of the dying fire's glow. Tall, gaunt. Its limbs had some sort of claws like a crab. It had no face, just a smooth, dark void where its eyes should be. It didn't move. It only watched. Liam's breath hitched. He nudged Eric, but Eric was frozen, staring with wide, terrified eyes. The figure took a step forward, then another. Liam stumbled back, his mind screaming at him to run, but his body wouldn't move. The fire crackled, and for a moment, the figure just flickered, like it wasn't fully there, like it was something the desert itself had breathed life to. Then the tent collapsed around them. The wind roared, sand whipping into the air, stinging their skin. Liam fought to get free, but the fabric tightened around him. Eric screamed into the night as the wind died down. The fire had gone out. But by morning, Liam was alone. Eric was gone. No footprints, no struggle, just an absence where his brother had been. Liam stumbled through the desert, screaming his name until his voice was raw. He ran, desperate, disoriented, until he found the road. Hours later, when he made it to the nearest police station, his story spilled out in frantic gasps. But they didn't believe him. "Ghosts? A shadowy figure?" The officer leaned back, shaking his head. "You expect us to buy that? We've got one brother missing and the other covered in sweat and sand, smelling like a brewery, rambling about curses." Liam continued to plead, but it didn't matter. The more he spoke of the growls, of the things that loomed over them, the more they looked at him like he was insane. When they found no evidence of Eric, no body, and no signs of an animal attack, and only empty beer cans, they arrested Liam. They accused him of drinking too much and in a blackout committing a murder. As they locked him in the holding cell, he stared out the barred windows. His mind began to unravel. He knew what had happened. He knew something had taken Eric, but no one would ever believe him. Meanwhile, out in the desert, the wind picked up. The relic, still half buried, was slowly covered by shifting sand, waiting for the next desperate soul to find it.